since the election, the construction and infrastructure stocks have just been flying. Even as it's become clearer and clearer that it might be very difficult for President Trump to get his $1 trillion infrastructure plan through Congress anytime soon, if at all. So how much of this move is because investors expect some government assistance? How much is simply the result of the fact that these are the kinds of companies that tend to do very well in an accelerating economy? Take U.S. Concrete, USCR, a major purveyor of concrete for commercial construction, residential construction, infrastructure building. This stock is up more than 40% since Trump's victory, and it's given us a close to 10% gain since we last spoke to the CEO just 3 months ago. Now, U.S. Concrete reported a very strong quarter at the end of February, delivering a 12-cent earnings beat off of a 70-cent basis with higher than expected revenues up nearly 21% year over year. To me, this suggests this move is about a stronger economy. Might be in the early stages. So let's check in with Bill Sandbrook. He's the president and CEO of U.S. Concrete. Find out more about how his company's doing, where it's headed. Mr. Sandbrook, welcome back to Mad Money. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Have a seat.
How are you?
All right, I'm going to read you.
See ya.
I just think people have to hear this at the beginning of your conference call. You say, this is from February 28th. We continue to see strong commercial, industrial, and residential construction activity in each of our major metropolitan markets and remain convinced that we're still in the relatively early stages of this construction cycle. That you're the most bullish person I've had on.
I don't think so. I think you've had other guys in a similar space that are similarly bullish.
But things are good.
Things are good right now, and this has nothing to do with the Trump infrastructure bill,
right,
as you said in your preview. And we're expecting something from that in one way, shape, or form in 2019. But right now, we're in a very strong economy in our 4 major markets: San Francisco, Dallas, Washington, D.C., and northern New Jersey, Metro New York. And it's because the underlying building economy is very strong.
Yeah, that's important. And I think that 2019 is the right time frame. I'm glad you're using that. In a bizarre way, I was thinking you're a strange but perhaps good play on tech, Facebook, Workday, Google, Amazon. They all come to you?
They all come to us because they're very complicated projects, very highly specified concrete, and they need good service, and they come to a company that specializes in that.
Well, they're also, the number of bridges that you have in the metropolitan area is really quite extraordinary, and they use a huge amount of concrete.
A lot of concrete. Bayonne Bridge, Goethals Bridge, Tappan Zee Bridge. We did the Oakland Bay Bridge a couple years ago.
Gigantic job.
Gigantic job. Again, high specification concrete and high service levels demanded that only a few companies can provide.
Well, speaking of something that only a few companies can provide, if we are going to build a wall between us and Mexico, I don't know how many companies would be as equipped as your company to do it.
Well, remember, we're going to supply the concrete,
right?
Possibly. We don't build the wall,
right? But it's yards, supplier. Right? You would tell yards, and how many yards do you think a job like that would be?
Oh, it's millions and millions.
Millions of yards.
It's 2,000 miles, but the specifications haven't been set yet.
Right.
So we have to see. So we're playing it a little bit close to our vest on what the true opportunity is going to be.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, when I look at the jobs, I mean, I thought that I-635 in Dallas was a big job, right?
That's a big job, but it's still only Dallas. It doesn't go from the Gulf of Mexico to the Pacific Ocean.
Right. This Toyota building tells me that when you have commercial construction, it's a gigantic thing for you.
It's very large. That project had a couple 100,000 yards in it as well. And that really is the underlying strength of the Dallas economy, all of the corporate inflow into that metroplex. And we're doing the J.P. Morgan regional headquarters there, like you said, the Toyota headquarters, and the thousands of jobs that come with that, and all the other building that has to go along to support that population.
I was curious about that because, I've always worried when I saw Texas slow down because of oil, but Texas is a market unto itself. It's the best market in the country, isn't it?
And especially Dallas-Fort Worth. It continues to amaze me that our backlog continues to increase. We continue adding assets. We continue adding trucks and drivers, and still can barely keep up with our demand in Dallas.
Well, we've had a series of CEOs, including Greg Hayes from United Technologies on Friday. He said his biggest issue is labor. It seems like, I mean, how do you get all these qualified drivers?
Well, on both coasts, we're union, and we have a very good feeder program with unions and very good drivers. Texas, it's a little more difficult, specifically in Dallas-Fort Worth, and we have to constantly work at getting enough drivers in our seats.
LaGuardia, giant job too,
Big
right?
job.
Now, all of these jobs are a lot of the jobs either seem to be Port Authority where they can issue bonds. I mean, so there is, even though we're waiting for a giant infrastructure, there are infrastructure projects that are public-private.
Absolutely. And it's driving the New York economy, driving LaGuardia. And the Port Authority put out their 10-year capital budget in February for $32 billion in additional spend over the next 10 years just in this area of the country, where we have 17 plants in the 5 boroughs to participate in that 10-year plan. And the city had a very robust budget as well up to 2019 with significant increases in their own capital plan.
One last question. I saw you're doing the Amazon distribution center, but I was thinking that they're not going to build a lot of new malls. Were malls big users of concrete?
They were, but once you had a mall, it was done. Now you need warehouse after warehouse after warehouse.
Right, and that's you.
That's us.
All right, well, this is a great story. It's Bill Sandbrook. He's the president and CEO of U.S. Concrete. This is the U.S. economy doing it. You don't need Washington. You just heard about all these projects. There's a lot going on in this country. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.